Hi guys, Coach Julia here. We are going to do a little mobility workout today that is specifically targeting your low back. This is a great warm-up to do if you're getting ready to squat, deadlift, or if you're just dealing with any kind of low back tightness in general. I'm just going to use my foam roller today for all of my exercises. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is just sit on that, right? We're getting into a really low squat position with an assist. If you're lacking any kind of mobility to be able to get down into a low squat, for this, I'd like you to get your feet all the way together so that heels and toes are touching, and we're going to squeeze those knees together. You're going to wrap your arms around your legs so that we're forcing as much flexion into that low back as possible. And then from here, we're going to breathe. The whole idea of this is that as I inhale, because my abdomen is compressed, I can't really expand through here, I will have to expand into my low back and laterally into my rib cage, which is going to help internally massage some of those muscles like your psoas, your TFL, so that we get a little bit more release. Okay, so I'm going to take my arms around my legs, relax my head, inhale deeply into that low back, release. The second thing I want to do is actually foam roll a little bit. Specifically, I want to foam roll my TFL. So that muscle is this kind of side hip external rotator. It's going to be along the line where if you had pockets in your pants, you'd slide your hands in. And a lot of times, if our psoas is tight, the muscles inside our abdomen that connect into our rib cage, our TFL is going to kick in overdrive to help add some added support. So before I start to get into any kind of stretching or strengthening, I want to get that connection between my brain and what's happening in my hip to relax. And that's what foam rolling is for. So I'm going to start just below my hip crease and roll down towards the middle part of my thigh. Now I can roll out my quads here as well. I can take it all the way down to my knees, but give yourself about a minute or two just to get that nice little relaxation sensation so that your brain and your body don't feel like they're in danger anymore. My third movement is going to be a single leg glute bridge, but we're using our foam roller to help activate our adductors, which are going to be the muscles of your inner thighs. This will force more pelvic stability so that, again, things like our psoas have less to do because now the muscles in our pelvic floor and our abdomen are working to create some of that stability. My feet hip width apart, and they're going to be right under my knees. If they're too far out, I'm going to get a lot of quad kickback, and I want to avoid some of that. So legs are right under your knees. Foam roller is squeezing between. Your head is going to relax on the floor and you're going to extend one leg so that both knees are parallel and both hips are parallel. And then from there we lift. Our fourth movement, still using my foam roller, is going to be a version of a dead bug. So again, I'm going to squeeze it between my knees to get a lot of those adductors working and providing me with support. But we're going to do this a little different than you might be used to a dead bug. I'm going to start this version with my feet already up. My head is going to relax on the ground in a moment, and I want to think about keeping my low back pressed to the floor. Then from here, with this foam roller squeezing tight between my knees, I'm going to lightly tap my feet to the floor without feeling like my low belly is bulging up. If I feel like I'm creating a lot of force outward, that's not what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking to take a nice big inhale, expand that low back into the ground, and as I exhale and lower, low belly presses down. That one's really challenging and you have a hard time compressing and dropping that low belly. Maybe try it with one leg and leave the foam roller out of it until you are able to get each leg independently getting to the floor without the low back arching, without the belly doming up. The last thing that we're going to do is a standing exercise. This is a lateral side bend, and this is really to target our obliques. So if you ever feel like some of that tightness happens in the side of your back, this might be a useful thing to try. So I'm going to come to standing. The first thing I want to check in are my feet. Toes are spread out nice and wide. My arches are pulling up and in. Again, that's going to help me engage through my adductors. And just to give them a little bit of extra support, we're going to come back to that foam roller. We're going to squeeze it right between your knees so that as you are side bending and we're creating length from the rib to the hip, we're still finding a lot of stability through your pelvis. Here, the first thing I'm going to do is tuck that tailbone under a little bit. Big breath, expand to that low back, and then I'm going to side bend as low as I can. Okay, so that's a quick little warm up that you can do with a foam roller to help prep your back for any kind of loaded exercises or if you're dealing with any kind of low back stiffness. See you next time.